Nothing prepares you for the moment you hear the words, "You're having twins." One second you think you understand what parenthood will look like, and the next your entire vision of the future changes. The excitement is overwhelming, but so is the uncertainty. Suddenly, every plan feels bigger, every decision feels more important, and every question seems to multiply. Most people celebrate the adorable idea of twins, imagining matching outfits, unforgettable photographs, and double the joy. While those moments certainly exist, there is another side of the story that few people talk about openly. Looking back, there are countless things I wish I had known before becoming pregnant with twins, not because the experience was negative, but because realistic expectations could have made the journey less stressful and more enjoyable. These lessons transform the way I view parenting, preparation, and what truly matters. Finding out you are expecting twins is one of the most exciting and life-changing moments a parent can experience. It feels like receiving a gift that is both extraordinary and intimidating at the same time. While friends and family often focus on the excitement, many parents quickly realize that twin pregnancy and twin parenting come with unique challenges that are difficult to understand until you live through them. The reality is that raising twins is not simply doing everything twice. It requires a completely different mindset, greater flexibility, and a willingness to let go of unrealistic expectations. In this video, we will explore the lessons I wish I had known before getting pregnant with twins, including practical tips, emotional truths, and insights that could have made the beginning of the journey much smoother. Before we begin, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join our growing community of parents and families. The first thing I wish I had known before getting pregnant with twins was how different a twin pregnancy can be from a singleton pregnancy. I expected a slightly bigger belly and perhaps a little extra fatigue, but the reality was far more demanding than I imagined. Every appointment carried a greater sense of importance, every milestone felt significant, and every physical change seemed to happen faster. My body was working around the clock to support two growing babies, and the exhaustion often arrived long before I expected it. There were days when even simple activities required more energy than I had available. I also underestimated the emotional impact of carrying twins, constantly worrying about health, development, and the possibility of early delivery. Had I known how physically and mentally demanding the experience could be, I would have given myself more grace, rested more often, and accepted help without feeling guilty or incapable. Another lesson I wish someone had shared with me was that preparation is important, but perfection is impossible. Before the twins arrived, I spent countless hours researching products, organizing the nursery, reading parenting books, and creating detailed plans for every possible scenario. I believed that enough preparation would eliminate uncertainty. What I eventually learned was that twins have a remarkable ability to challenge every carefully designed plan. Feeding schedules changed unexpectedly, sleeping routines evolved constantly, and solutions that worked one week sometimes failed the next. The pursuit of perfection created unnecessary stress because I measured myself against unrealistic standards. The parents who seemed to thrive were not necessarily the most organized or knowledgeable. They were the ones who adapted quickly and accepted that flexibility was more valuable than perfection. Understanding this earlier would have saved me countless hours of frustration and allowed me to focus more on enjoying the journey instead of trying to control every detail. One of the biggest surprises was learning that sleep deprivation reaches an entirely different level when caring for twins. Before becoming a parent, I had heard countless stories about sleepless nights, but I assumed that determination and good planning would help me manage. The reality was much different. When one baby finally fell asleep, the other often needed attention. Just as a routine seemed to emerge, a growth spurt, illness, or developmental change would disrupt everything. The constant cycle of feeding, comforting, changing diapers, and monitoring to infants created a level of exhaustion that affected both physical health and emotional resilience. Looking back, I wish I had focused less on achieving perfect routines and more on creating systems of support, accepting offers of help, sharing responsibilities whenever possible, and prioritizing rest over household tasks would have made a tremendous difference. Sleep became one of the most valuable resources in our home, and protecting it whenever possible was essential. I also wish I had understood how important teamwork would become. Many people imagine parenting as an individual responsibility, but raising twins quickly reveals the power of collaboration. Whether the support comes from a partner, family member, friend, or trusted caregiver, having reliable help can transform the experience. There were moments when pride convinced me I should be able to manage everything alone, but that mindset often led to unnecessary stress and burnout. Twins require simultaneous attention, and there are simply times when one person cannot meet every need at once. Learning to communicate openly, delegate responsibilities, and accept assistance without guilt became crucial skills. The strongest families were not necessarily those with the most resources, but those who worked together effectively. If I could go back, I would spend less time trying to prove my independence and more time building a support network. Parenting twins is not a journey designed to be completed alone. Before becoming pregnant with twins, I assumed that both children would develop at the same pace and follow similar patterns. After all, they shared the same environment, the same parents, and often the same experiences. What I discovered was that twins are unique individuals from the very beginning. One might be adventurous while the other is cautious. One may reach certain milestones earlier while the other progresses differently. Comparing them, even unintentionally, can create unnecessary pressure for both parents and children. I wish I had recognized sooner that differences are not signs of problems but reflections of individuality. Celebrating each child for who they are instead of measuring them against each other created a healthier and more positive environment. Twins may share a birthday, but they do not share identical personalities, talents, preferences, or paths. Understanding this truth transformed the way I approached parenting and helped me appreciate their uniqueness more deeply. Another valuable lesson involved expectations surrounding daily life. Before the twins arrived, I imagined maintaining many of the routines and activities I enjoyed before becoming a parent. I expected some adjustments, but I underestimated the extent of the changes. Simple tasks such as grocery shopping, attending appointments, or leaving the house required far more planning than I anticipated. What once took 15 minutes could easily become an hour-long process involving feeding schedules, diaper bags, clothing changes, and unexpected delays. At first, these disruptions felt frustrating because they challenged my sense of efficiency and control. Over time, however, I learned that success looked different in this new season of life. Accomplishing a few important tasks while caring for 2 babies was often more than enough. Letting go of unrealistic productivity expectations reduced stress significantly. Parenting twins taught me that progress should be measured not by how much gets done but by how well everyone is cared for. One of the most important emotional lessons was understanding that it is normal to experience conflicting feelings. Society often expects parents to feel grateful and joyful every moment of the journey, particularly when they have been blessed with twins. While gratitude was certainly present, so were exhaustion, frustration, anxiety, and self-doubt. There were days when the challenges felt overwhelming and moments when I questioned whether I was doing enough. For a long time, I believed that these emotions reflected weakness or failure. Eventually, I realized they were simply part of being human. Parenting twins involves extraordinary demands, and acknowledging difficult emotions is healthier than pretending they do not exist. The moment I stopped judging myself for struggling occasionally was the moment I became a more confident parent. Understanding that joy and difficulty can coexist would have saved me from unnecessary guilt and reminded me that perfection is not required to be a loving and effective caregiver. Financial preparation was another area where realistic expectations would have been incredibly helpful. Before the twins arrived, I focused primarily on obvious expenses such as cribs, clothing, and diapers. What I underestimated were the countless smaller costs that accumulate over time. Medical appointments, feeding supplies, transportation needs, childcare considerations, and household adjustments all contributed to a financial reality that was larger than expected. While careful budgeting helped, the most valuable lesson was learning to distinguish between necessities and marketing-driven purchases. The parenting industry often promotes products as essential when many families succeed perfectly well without them. I wish I had spent less money trying to solve every potential problem in advance and more time focusing on practical needs. Twins do not require a perfect collection of products to thrive. They require love, attention, safety, and consistency. Understanding this earlier would have reduced both financial stress and unnecessary consumption during an already demanding period. Perhaps the lesson that surprised me most was how quickly time passes despite the exhausting days. During the newborn stage, every feeding, diaper change, and sleepless night felt endless. I often found myself counting hours and waiting for easier phases to arrive. Yet somehow, those challenging months disappeared faster than I could have imagined. The tiny babies who depended on us for everything gradually became curious children with unique personalities, interests, and abilities. Looking back, I realized that many of the moments I wanted to rush through eventually became cherished memories. This does not mean every stage was easy or enjoyable, but it does mean that even difficult seasons carried value. I wish I had worried less about the future and spent more time appreciating the present. The journey of raising twins moves quickly, and every phase, whether challenging or joyful, contributes to a story that becomes more meaningful with time. The greatest lesson of all was discovering that parenting twins changes you in ways you never expect. It teaches patience when patience seems impossible, resilience when energy feels depleted, and gratitude in moments that might otherwise go unnoticed. The challenges are real, but so are the rewards. Every obstacle overcome becomes evidence of strength, and every milestone achieved carries a special sense of accomplishment. If I had known before becoming pregnant with twins how profoundly the experience would shape my perspective, I might have approached the journey with less fear and greater confidence. The difficulties were not signs that something was wrong. They were opportunities for growth. Twins did not simply double the responsibilities in my life. They multiplied the lessons, the memories, the love, and the personal transformation. Understanding this truth would have changed the way I viewed every challenge and reminded me that the most meaningful journeys are often the ones that stretch us beyond our expectations. If there is one message I hope every parent of twins takes away from this story, it is that you do not need to have all the answers before the journey begins. The challenges will come, the plans will change, and there will be moments when you feel overwhelmed. Yet there will also be moments of incredible joy, pride, and connection that make every sacrifice worthwhile. Raising twins is not about being perfect. It is about showing up every day with love, patience, and the willingness to learn as you go. Looking back, I would not change the experience, even the difficult parts, because each lesson helped shape the parent I became. Trust yourself, embrace the unexpected, and remember that every challenge you overcome is helping create a lifetime of unforgettable memories for both you and your children.